Welcome back, dear viewers. In this segment, we are going to talk about the performance of the Egyptian economy and how can business leaders, how can business owners deal with changes in exchange rate, how can they adopt new strategies to develop their business and work. And to shed more light on this issue, I joined here in the studio with Mr. Abdel Magdi. He is a business strategy coach. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Magdi. Sir, how do you see the changes that occurred on the Egyptian market after the liberalization of the Egyptian pound, and to what extent that could have an impact on the prices of commodities?
Yeah, of course. I think all of us are witnessing in Egypt as you mentioned, the devaluation of the Egyptian pound as a result of the free float that we have witnessed have affected most businesses and individuals. When we look at businesses, we can see that in the transportation sector, in all sectors actually, but all those relying on transportation and relying on machinery that's being imported from abroad, all these sectors are affected. And of course, as a result of the devaluation, we're expecting regular gradual increase in prices. And accordingly, it becomes challenging for both individuals and businesses.
Yes. So how can business owners deal with this?
Yeah, I think this is what we call disruption in the markets. Yes. And I think for the Egyptian economy, we can look this on the long run from a positive standpoint. If the macroeconomics go well as a result of the liberation of the Egyptian pound, as we mentioned, if business owners are able to sustain themselves and rebuild their businesses during this transition, most likely economy is expected to improve in the future. So the best options for the business owners right now is to revisit their strategy and to assess what they should, what is best for them to kind of reflect to this devaluation in Egyptian pounds. Some of the highlights of that and some of the actually good news for some of the business owners in Egypt are those who are already targeting the international market. So for those who are already selling their products and services to the global market, which is very active in the knowledge and the technology sector, so those who have clients who are paying already in the US dollar, so these type of businesses, they can view this as a positive, from the standpoint of the currency part. And I think what could happen for Egyptian businesses is to think, how can we target the global market? So for all businesses across all sectors to think about first, how can I sell globally? Because the free float means that we are closer to the global markets and we're more competitive when it comes to the global market. So whatever sector I'm at right now, how can I expand my business geographically and also in terms of the market size? For a business owner going through this transition, it might be shocking to a lot of extent when they look to the numbers. But what is advice is for them to actually look at what matters. So it's always advised to cut to the chase, look at the bottom line of your business. The volume of the business that I'm having is a result of the number of clients that I'm having, the average sale, and the frequency of sale. So that's basically by the end of the year, that's how I calculate my profits and my revenues. So as a business owner, if as a result of this devaluation, I'm going to have to lose some clients. Probably I should start thinking about increasing the volume of sales that I'm having or the frequency of sales these clients are approaching me. So doing the balance with all these variables is vital for business owners. And one of the usually highly advised exercises during these times is to visit the strategy of business owners. And there are lots of tools and templates and way of thinking when it comes to how they can approach a strategy exercise, and they can come up with a new strategy of their company to be dealing with the new challenges and the new changes that's happening in the market.
Mr. Magdi, we have to mention here that during the past 3 days, Akhbar al-Yom was holding its conference, its economic conference, with the challenge to face the challenges that Egypt are facing concerning the economy, the way to the future, the breakthroughs and challenges. To what extent this conference could be tackling the main problems that the Egyptian economy is facing?
Yeah, I think lots of conferences and events, I think it's a very good investment of time for business owners to be part of such conferences and events, because like the biggest threat for business owners during a time like that is for them to kind of look at things internally, try to analyze things from sources like what's being said, the hype. So going to these events and actually knowing what experts are saying and knowing also the options that they have, that's is a very positive action for business owners to take. And usually during these conferences, there is lots of actual numbers and statistics being shared, which actually makes the decisions taken by business owners more to the point, and most likely to come up with better results for their business.
So to what extent the IMF fund will give the Egyptian economy a boost at this stage?
Yeah, I think like when we look at it from the finance standpoint, from a macroeconomic perspective, we would see that this is a positive sign. So Egypt was able to attract external funding from IMF, which gives other investors the confidence to start economic activities in Egypt. So we can look at it as a positive like point on the short and medium term, and hopefully like that's quite a work when it comes to macroeconomics. We hope it's going to be like a shock for the economy to recover, and as I said, it becomes a role of the private sector to rework their strategies and to find the best ways and the most efficient ways for them to run their business. I think right now is a time for efficiency. So in order for businesses to survive and flourish, they have to work internally of how to like focus on what matters to them, choose what to do and what not to do. Probably they might choose to close parts of their business, open new ones. So it's time for change that requires lots of focused studies and some quite hard decisions as well.
Mr. Magdi, to what extent it's time now to encourage the young entrepreneurs to enter the market of Egypt?
Yeah, I think it's not just for those who kind of call themselves entrepreneurs already. And I think right now is an interesting time for everyone who's looking to increase their income to look for other ways for them to increase their income. And I think what had been happening around the world in the past 10 years is that lots of people have been moving to running virtual businesses. So starting businesses on the internet around something they are proficient at.
Indeed.
Creating that to other people, coaching them, and providing different types of like consulting, coaching, and probably speaking services. So we think this model fits lots of experienced professionals in Egypt, and we have seen lots of people who are not like addressing themselves entrepreneurs moving into offering products and services online, which I think that's going to be a very interesting trend, because for them also they are able to access global markets. And like for this category of people who do have a focused skill or talent in something specifically that they can either educate it online or coach other people, I think they have to benchmark themselves according to the global standards. So they have to look at who's best in the world in this matter to learn from them, but not locally. So they have to be thinking globally when it comes to benchmarking their skill, because by the end of the day, that's going to be their markets. And also they have to think intelligently when it comes to marketing and innovation. So like relying heavily on digital marketing and also having lots of innovation in the way they package their products and services. So it's a very interesting time for those who are jumping into targeting global markets as entrepreneurs. This might be challenging times for those addressing the local markets, but I think it's an interesting time for existing businesses to move into the global markets, and also for those who are regularly probably employed to start like a side project also targeting the global market.
Indeed.
And what's your advice to Egyptian citizens at this stage?
Yeah, I think for Egyptian citizens, I think what's happening right now is that we're becoming more open to the world. And I think the world thinks according to a concept of individual capitalism, which I think this is something that needs to be spread and educated for young Egyptians specifically.
Yes.
And like individual capitalism is that an individual looks to themselves as an asset. So myself, the way I speak, even my face, my skills and abilities, these are assets that I should monetize in the market. So it doesn't become that I'm searching for an employment opportunity, but rather I'm investing on my knowledge, on my skills, on my abilities in order to be able to solve problems, and then using myself, my assets, as the way for me to make money in the world. So looking at yourself from this perspective, I think it's challenging according to the culture, because like we always
Yes.
look up to employment in multinational companies.
Yes.
But I think we need to be talking to younger Egyptians that it's time for you to consider individual capitalism, is to analyze your skills, your abilities, and to think that I'm going to monetize these abilities, maybe sometimes by employment, maybe sometimes through working as a consultant, maybe sometimes through starting an online business.
Yes.
So it becomes,
You have to be more creative.
exactly, it's about innovation and creativity, and also the way of thinking that I'm not searching for a job,
Yes.
but rather I'm developing my skills in order to be able to solve problems that's going to help someone else. So I'm going to be driving economic value as a participant in a global economy.
Yes.
Mr. Atta, I would take it from here, not searching for a job, because unfortunately many youngsters, many people are complaining because of the unemployment, and yet they are sitting at home, just sending their CVs and waiting for the job. I think that the world market has changed now. People are have their own ideas, young entrepreneurs entering the market. So how can we change that concept of just sitting at home waiting for the job opportunity to come?
Yeah, I think some of the things that I personally was witnessing in the past years, and I think also if we take a tour around Egyptian universities, we're going to see lots of student organizations and student activities that's promoting the concept of entrepreneurship and like matching the students with the knowledge and abilities and access to equip themselves.
There's some incubators in order to help the young entrepreneurs to enter the market.
Exactly. That's the next step for them, to be providing systemic programs to help them to start their businesses. I think the culture plays a major role, which becomes also the responsibility of the media and also for universities to start focusing beside the academic component into spreading the concept of entrepreneurship and opening up to global markets, and getting people to think about what can we do to monetize even during the time they are studying. So having more like market-oriented education system, I think all that might provide better economic opportunities for Egypt, because the challenge economically and the value of the Egyptian pound by the end of the day depends on the level of productivity in the economy and the contribution of Egyptians in the economy. And we're soon having 100 million Egyptians, and if we think that they're going to become like competent globally and they will be able to provide products and services online, that's going to be a huge economic contribution, and accordingly we can see the Egyptian pounds increasing in value in relation to other currencies.
So do you think that the Egyptian market is now more attractive to investors than before?
I think from one angle I can say yes. So with the devaluation of the Egyptian pounds, it becomes cheap. So quote unquote cheap. It's
it's not cheap. The Egyptian pound. You mean the dollar or the Egyptian pound?
Yeah, I mean, if I'm investing like $1 million,
so it's an incentive for the investors.
To a lot of extent, it's an incentive for them, because I mean, the cheap becomes the labor, and the assets become with the devaluation of the currency, it becomes cheaper for those who are doing investment stuff.
And also we don't have two parallel markets, which is more important. We don't have two markets for the dollars. It's only the bank now.
Yeah, I think like the more this dollars become available in the banks, I think the more it becomes more attractive to like investors and businesses to operate and give them confidence in the direction of the economy.
Yes.
So definitely it becomes Egypt becomes attractive to foreign investors with the IMF loan, and also with other economic activities that's starting to show up. But becomes a responsibility also for individuals. And I think if individuals are able to understand this properly and to work with it by offering products and services globally, I think that's a way to recovery for the Egyptian economy.
So, sir, do you expect now investors would start to come to the Egyptian more after the liberalization of the pound?
There are other important variables, but possibly yes. In comparison to before the decision, after the decision, it's more likely for them to consider that, given some of the variables. Yeah.
Indeed. Mr. Abdel, Magdi, business strategy coach, thank you very much, sir, for your precious input.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Mr. Magdi. And now, dear viewers, we come to the end of today's edition of The Breakfast Show. I'd like to thank my dear colleague, Magdi Rabia.
Thank you very much, Shireen. And thank you very much, our dear viewers. Tomorrow we'll be back with another crew with The Breakfast Show. Till then, Magdi Rabia, thank you.